right. Hey, Baba friends, we are so happy to have Cathy, Dana, and Karen and friends to celebrate Mehera's birthday today with us. Thank you. Thank you for coming, Cathy, who has been many times to Meherazad, I think. I'll let you tell or whatever.
Okay. I am so honored to be here and to share memories of Mara. Many, hopefully, all of you have had that great good fortune to have spent many, many hours with Mara and blessed by her presence and her love for our beloved. And I know she's changed all of our lives who have been with her. I I really think it would be great to start with a song. This is a wonderful gift that Baba gave me in 1973 when Mara and Mani heard that we were making a Baba record in Nashville. Mara Mani wrote and said that they had both written songs and they would like me to sing these songs. And those of you who know the songs, sing along.
Cathy, sound on? It's okay, I'm sorry, but do you have original sound on your computer?
Let's see. That's thank you. I may not.
It sounds good, but I suppose it would be best with
No, no, we lost Cathy.
oh dear.
Betty, you might have this button because your voice is not so good.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, I know, because my microphone, no, it should be all right. Let me see. Huh.
I wonder if it's minding two of us in the same house on different lines. I wonder if that has something to do with something.
I don't think it should be. No, it's her computer, her mic that.
Come on in. Come on in.
Okay, could you just read your little saying while I get back on?
Sure.
Myself off.
I'll read a little quote from Mehera that she wrote in 1971 while Cathy's getting back on. Don't worry, be happy. Give a smile and make it snappy. Even if it's a burdensome yoke, never forget all life is a joke. Baba is the play and the actor. He the tears and he the laughter. So when most you want to cry, think of Baba and say his jai. I just found that in a notebook from that time. I hadn't remembered it.
Could you say it one more time?
Sure. Could you hear it all right?
Yes. It just deserves it deserves repeating.
Don't worry, be happy. Give a smile and make it snappy. Even if it's a burdensome yoke, never forget all life is a joke. Baba is the play and the actor. He the tears and he the laughter. So when most you want to cry, think of Baba and say his jai.
And is Mehera?
Mehera wrote it in 1971.
Oh, wow.
That's what it said in my journal. I didn't remember it. I just came across it. Sweet. Cathy's, she's coming.
Oh, she is. Oh, here she is.
I'm going to shut my door because it picks up the sound from the living room too.
You're muted.
There you go.
Okay. Are you able to hear me now?
Just fine. Sorry, Cathy. I had no idea I would cause such.
That's okay. That's okay. So if I sing, you think you might be able to hear me, maybe.
Yeah, no, it's the guitar that's affected. If you
Okay, so let me just play a chord. How's this?
Good.
Okay. Meher Baba, Lord and friend, my beloved to the end. Meher Baba, Lord and friend, beloved to the end. You are my heart, my life, my soul. You are my all, my only goal. Jai, 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 Mehera, Lord and friend, my beloved to the end. Mehera, Lord and friend, my beloved to the end. Beloved, I am by your light. Your love sun makes my moon bright. Jai, 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 Mehera, Lord and friend, my beloved to the end. Mehera, Lord and friend, my beloved to the end. All day long for you I long, sing your name and your love song. Jai, 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 Mehera, Lord and friend, my beloved to the end. Mehera, Lord and friend, my beloved to the end. Though my heart weeps all the while, for your sake I wear a smile. Jai, 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 Mehera, Lord and friend, my beloved to the end. Mehera, Lord and friend, my beloved to the end. Your dear pleasure is my joy. Mine is not to question why. Jai, 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 Mehera, Lord and friend, my beloved to the end. Mehera, Lord and friend, my beloved to the end. You who played a perfect game, shape my heart into your name. Jai, 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 Mehera, Lord and friend, my beloved to the end. Mehera, Lord and friend, my beloved to the end. Make me, Lord, your song of praise. Fill all hearts with your dear grace. Jai, 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 Mehera, Lord and friend, my beloved to the end. Mehera, Lord and friend, my beloved to the end. I have that was such a thrill to be asked to sing that song that Mehera had written. A very interesting little side story is that when I somehow mentioned to Elizabeth Patterson that I had been asked to sing a song of Mara's and Mani's. I want to make sure that Mara's, is she back there? Can you see Mara back there? That very interestingly, Elizabeth said, you know, Mara's been in such strict seclusion, and you're going and you're making this record, and people will see her name in writing and hear her song. Are you sure this is a good idea? So I actually wrote to Mani and Mara and said, do I have permission to do this? And yes, Mani wrote back, Mara wanted this song brought out, recorded, and her song. And I thought it was interesting. It was almost like a beginning of another era of Mara coming more kind of into world consciousness through, I don't know, because Elizabeth had me write to make sure that it was an okay thing to do, to bring a song by Mara into a wider audience. I think singing on Mara's porch was one of the greatest gifts I was given. And because of that, I read a few paragraphs in Beloved Mehera and was so touched that I set a song to music, which I'd like to share and hope to bring you to Mara's porch with me. In Beloved Mehera, Hareen one day said at Guru Prasad, Mara Radha. Baba stopped and said, say it again, say it again. So Perrine felt happy she had come up with a name which Baba liked. Now Perrine always calls me by that name, Mara said. Baba asked Mara once at Merazad, when did you first love me? Mara answered Baba, I loved you. That's why I came to stay with you. But staying with you day by day, I loved you more and more. I loved you the very first time I saw you, Baba told her. That very first time, that very first day, I recognized you as my Radha. Baba had spoken of Mara as his Radha many times before. One day, Baba pointed to a picture of Radha and Krishna and said, Radha loved Krishna so much, but this time, the avatar is even luckier. Mara loves me more than Radha loved Krishna. Baba once told Shanji that Mara was the combination of the devotion of Mira and the divine love of Radha. When David Fenster related this to Mara, she commented wistfully, it was very sweet of Baba. I love Baba very deeply. All my love is only for Baba. I gave my heart to Baba. Even that was not enough. I try to love him more and more. He is worthy to be loved, infinitely worthy to be loved. I love Baba very deeply. All my love is only for him. Love him more and more, more and more. He's infinitely worthy to be loved. Love him more and more. Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Mera Radha, Baba Mera, Meher Baba, Meher Baba. I gave my heart sweetest Baba. But even that was not enough. He is worthy to be loved, to be loved. He's infinitely worthy to be loved. Love him more, more and more. Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Mehera Rana, Baba Mehera, Meher Baba, Meher Baba, love him more. Sitting on the porch with Mehera, I had many gifts. One was a gift of persevering in a task in which I completed a task, and Mehera, from tears of missing Baba, laughed at the silliness of this trick I was doing, and then became serious and said, "That was very good. You persevered and you completed your task. Always persevere in your love for Baba and never give up." And that exhortation to persevere has been one of my great gifts. Another was just a time sitting on the porch next to her when all at once I found myself beset with thoughts, impure thoughts that just felt like they were overtaking me. And I was so worried that Mehera would, I mean, what I was feeling and seeing, which were, it was like her purity was sort of evoking this out of me in a strange way. And I just sat there praying that she wouldn't hear what I was or see what I was going through. And when that subsided, I felt this incredible cleansing that had happened from that experience. I've heard others who have heard that have had that experience as well. Just her purity, sort of purifying. Going to tea with Mehera was a gift most of us have had, and just the intensity of her love for Baba as she would talk to Baba, her childlike giggles. Uh, I mean, we could all tell many stories. I think being able to embrace Mehera physically and to be with her as a woman was a great gift to me personally, because I had been the child of a father who, there were no other children in the family, in the Haas line, and I had a sister, and I was feeling, up to that point, since I loved my dad so much, I was feeling, oh no, there's nobody to carry on the Haas name. And as a younger girl, because I loved my dad so much, I thought, well, maybe I should have been born a boy. But then when I met Mehera, I was so happy I had been born into a female form in this lifetime, because I had the great good fortune to embrace her and be with her and have tea with her. And so I came into womanhood through being with Mehera and being thankful for being a woman. And so that was meaningful. There are so many other things to share. One, because of Christmas time, many of you have seen this or read this before, but I love to read it every Christmas. This is a message from Mehera that she sent to Kitty and all at Baba's Center and surrounding area in December of 1998. I'm sorry, 1988. 1988, December. Jai Baba, Happy New Year. Always keep beloved Avatar Meher Baba in your hearts and in your thoughts. Remember, it is not the speed with which you obtain your objectives in life that counts, but the time you spare and want to share with your beloved that really matters. So, with every step you take in life, remember and try to please beloved Baba and know that he is with you, helping and guiding you on your journey home to himself, who is the source of all goodness and light. Your Marizad family sends much love to you in God Baba's precious love, Mara. That was really a great gift. I think there are so many wonderful hours that Mara asked me to learn Mira bhajans and sing them back to her and some of Huma songs. But I'm so aware that there are others here that would love to share as well. So I think I'd like to sing a song that I wrote after I returned to India after Mara had passed. I hadn't been able to get back to India, and I was so sad and upset that I hadn't been able to get there. When I got there, Eric Nadel gave me a few poems that were really beautiful. And I set one to music. That's what I felt when I went back to India this trip. At first feeling very sad that I was missing Mara, not seeing her on the porch. And then I felt, we've all had such great good fortune to have been with Mara, to have been with the women and the men. So this is setting of Eric Cole's words in thankfulness to Mara. Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. That the nourisher of love is gone. She lives, so don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Just look within each heart to see the bounty that she gives. She gives, yes, she gives. So don't cry, no, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Last, at last, the age of love has begun at last. So don't cry, oh, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Mara, beloved of God, lives eternal. She lives, yes, she lives, and he lives, yes, he lives. So don't cry, don't cry.
Beautiful, Kathy. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you, Erico. Thank you, Mara. Thank you, Baba. Mm. So that was very strongly in to my soul. Oh, look. Oh, good. We've got a, wow, this is great. We've got dogs howling. Wow, now I really don't howl. Don't howl. Okay, so I guess what I wanted to say was after the initial sadness at not seeing Mara, not seeing Mani Meru go here, man, I just really became filled with the thankfulness that we have been given so much and that don't cry. I mean, we have been given so much love through Mara, through Mani, Meru, Katie, Go here, Erich, all, all the men, I mean, it's just, and I just feel like it's such a gift he's given all of us, and I'm most thankful. Thank you, Baba, for Mara, for what we've been given. And I'd love to ask Dana and Karen to share a little bit also. Dana, are you there? Mm-hmm. Are you there?
I'm here. I just thought of something. I hadn't thought of it before, but I thought of a story that Mani used to tell about the extent to which Baba would go to please Mara. See if I can tell this properly. Artists would come with paintings of Baba from time to time, and Baba would want to go with whatever Mara thought of the painting. Whether if Mara liked it, he liked it. If she didn't like it, he didn't like it. And so one time an artist had brought a painting and Mani was there, and Baba winked at Mani, like, be alert. And so she looked at the painting and she looked at Mara, and she assessed that Mara liked the painting, even though she found something a little odd about it. So she praised the painting, and Baba was very pleased with her, but she had sort of held herself back. And then Rano came bounding up onto the porch, and Rano, of course, was fairly blunt and, plain spoken. And she immediately said, there's something about the eyes, Baba. And Mani blurted out, oh, yes, there was something about the eyes. And she looked at Baba, and Baba's face had fallen with disappointment. She'd held herself in check, but she realized she'd made a boo-boo.
No.
I just remember Mani telling that story. I didn't tell it nearly as well as Mani told it, but it just showed that the lengths to which Baba would go to please Mara. And the story that I had thought of telling was the first story I ever heard Mara tell at the tea table. It was my first tea with Mara. And she told a story about somebody, I don't know if this is the right term, Kristen might know. I think this man was a kirtan kali or something, a person who sang kirtans that told historical tales, had challenged this Baba lover to a duel, a verbal duel. He was a Hindu, and he said he wanted to have a theological debate with this Baba lover, and if the Baba lover could prove that Baba was who he said he was, he would bow down to Baba himself, and if not, he would come and take Baba's picture off. Some terrible thing would happen to the Baba lover. He was going to remove his Baba picture or something. Anyway, the Baba lover, who was a very uneducated person, knew that he really didn't have a chance to debate this educated Kirtan Kali or whatever he was called. And he prayed to Baba to help him, but they had the debate, whatever it was, and the Baba lover felt he'd done very badly. And he knew something very disappointing to Baba was going to happen. He felt terrible about it. Well, what happened was the next day, the Kirtan Kali came to the Baba lover's house and said, I know who he is. I know who he is now. And he said, what happened? He said, during the night, I had a dream. And Meher Baba appeared, first he appeared as Krishna and Buddha and Muhammad and Jesus, and then as Meher Baba. And he said, now I am the same one. I've come again in the form of Meher Baba. And so Baba saved the Baba lover. and the Baba lover hung Baba's picture in the Kirtan Kali's house, and that was that. And the thing that the most important part of the story I left out, which was Mehera said, being a Baba lover, he had to accept the challenge.
Wow.
And so that was the moral of the story to me, was to accept the challenge. That was the very first story I ever heard Mehera tell.
Mhm. Dana, you said you had a wonderful story about a story about perseverance also.
That was it. That was the one.
Oh, good.
I didn't tell the persevering part very well, but you get the gist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm.
He persevered. He was convinced he was going to fail, but he prayed to Baba and did his best, and Baba saw him through.
Did Mehera ask you to sing for her sometimes?
She did. Oh dear.
You?
she said something that isn't true of me today. She said, one must always have a song ready.
And did you?
I did that day when she said that. I was trying to sneak out of it, but then I came through with something. But you better go on, or somebody else better go on. Maybe I'll think of a song later. I can't think of one
Dana
right now.
has a beautiful voice, and I know. Thank you. That was wonderful. Mm.
Before we go on, though, Dana, I have to say that is really an important thing to keep in mind, that we must accept the challenge. If Baba's behind us,
Right.
wow, that's
Mm.
just really profound.
Mm. Mm. Beautiful.
That's
Oh.
the same thing that Mehera told Cathy in different words.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Persevere,
Yeah.
and that Baba would be happy if we persevere in our love for him.
Right.
And your being a woman also helped you take care of Elizabeth and Kitty. Had you been a man, you wouldn't be able to do that either.
That's right. Oh, golly. Many times blessed. Thank you for reminding me of that. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Is Karen available to share some wonderful Mehera reminiscences?
She's
Yeah.
muted. You're muted, Karen.
Uh-huh. Karen, is she? Where is Karen? Karen, can you unmute? Oh, there she is.
She's on her phone. She's on her phone, and she probably doesn't know it as well as
Oh.
a computer.
Oh dear. Karen? Oh no. Oh dear. What are we going to do?
She's hearing you, but she doesn't know how to unmute at the moment, I think.
I think she unmuted for 1 minute. No?
I think she's asking what to do to unmute on the phone.
What to do to
Oh,
unmute?
maybe she's
Yes,
on
I think
this.
that's what she's asking.
Yes.
How to
How do
unmute
you
on the
unmute
phone?
on the phone?
Sometimes the mute button will be hiding if you can scroll it over. You'll expose the mute button sometimes.
Scroll.
Betty, can you tell her how to do that?
It takes some
Usually have
doing.
6 and then 7.
What about 6 and 7?
Say that again.
Tell her to push 6 and then 7. That's what my phone tells me to do if I'm on the phone, to unmute.
6 and 7.
No, that won't work for Zoom. Or will it? It might.
Or Magic does that.
On the phone.
Well, Christine has Christine Crawford has also been with Mehera, no?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Where she
I
is.
remember.
Chris?
Oh, now Karen.
Okay. We'll try to come back to Karen, I think. And Kristen, do you have a Mehera story to share?
No, she disappeared.
Oh, she's
Baba.
disappeared.
Christine, you disappeared and you're muted.
Well. Shall I sing my Amira song while everybody gets their act together here? Maybe?
Yeah.
Well, what? Yes, okay. So I can do that while Karen works on her unmuting. Kristen, I suppose, is somewhere else. So, okay, so I would love to share a great blessing that Mehera loved the Mehera bhajans, and she decided she wanted me to learn these songs. And she took me into the parlor one day, took me aside by myself, and opened up the Victrola and, cranked it up and put a record down in the needle and old fashioned record player, and these crackly melodic tones came out, and one of these Jukita Roy records of Mehera bhajans emanated into the parlor. And after this song was sung, Mehera played me another, and she said, "Which one would you like to learn? I want you to learn a Mehera bhajan." And I said, "Mehera, I have no idea. I don't know what they mean." Or so she picked one and she asked me to learn it, and I went not knowing how to do any pronunciation. And I went to Mansari. She taught me my first bhajan, and I came back to Mehera and I said, "Mehera, I'm ready to sing it for you." And when I sang it, she looked very upset and she said, "Who taught you to sing it like that?" And I said very innocently, I said very happily, I said, "I went to Mansari." And she said, "Mansari? She sings like a cow." So then I rushed, and then I said, what to do?" And she says, "I want you to go sing from and learn from Rhoda." So Rhoda Mystery was my teacher from then on, and it was just wonderful to go spend time with Rhoda. It was so touching how Rhoda was so exacting that I get it just right, because she was so focused on pleasing Mehera. And the song that I love the best was a song that's called Dilto Mera Harlia. And Mehera told me that she had learned this in Dehradun, and that there was a some street urchins and the father came singing below a balcony where Baba was with the women. And this song was sung about Krishna. "Oh, Krishna, my heart is won over to you, by you. Krishna, in front of your doorstep, I am crying out, Krishna, Krishna. You said in the Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita, that you would come back in the Kali Yuga, but why have you not come before us now, O Krishna?" And of course, Baba's right there. Krishna's right there twinkling away and looking at the women, and they're quietly sharing the secret of Krishna being there. Mehera told me that Baba and the ladies were on a balcony when the street boys came by. But in Beloved Mehera, in volume 2, it says, the story goes, once from their makeshift kitchen, they heard a harmonium being played at their gate. "Do you want music?" a voice cried out. "Do you want songs?" Mehera told Mani, "Go and ask Baba if we can call the man inside to sing. Baba would like to hear him. He sounds like he has a good voice." Baba was talking with the Westerners, but he told Mani, "Yes, call the singers inside." All gathered in the large, sparsely furnished room. They brought their mats or sat on the bedding already on the carpet, with Baba, Norina, and Elizabeth in chairs. The singers were 3 brothers, ages 9, 10, and 11, and the lad's father. They sat in front of Baba on the floor. One of the boys played the tabla, the other the harmonium. When Baba said to start, they began immediately with a Mirabai bhajan, one that was new to the women. It was a beautiful song about Krishna that said, "My heart has been captured by Krishna. I stand in front of your house calling you, Krishna, begging for your darshan." The song went on to say, "Krishna, In the Gita, you promised to come back during the Kali Yuga. Now is that time. Why are you not in front of me today? Mehera commented, the meaning of the song was so beautiful that we, sitting around Baba, turned to see what Baba was doing. He was pretending as if nothing was unusual. He was smiling sweetly, tapping his armchair, keeping time to the music, looking very innocent, with a twinkle in his eyes. We knew that Baba was Krishna and that he was right in front of these singers who are asking of Krishna. Why have you not come in front of me today? How lucky they were, but we couldn't tell them. They wouldn't have had conviction. When the musicians finished, Baba was pleased and permitted them to sing a few more. Pay them well, he said. They sing beautifully. Having sung for Krishna, for the Lord incarnate, they had already been given a priceless reward. Dil to mera har liya, pyare Krishna, Krishna ne. Dil to mera har liya, pyare Krishna, Krishna ne. Krishna, Krishna, mai pukaru, tere ghar ke samne. Krishna, Krishna, mai pukaru, tere ghar ke samne. Gita mera dakyata, aunga kali yuga mein. Gita mera dakyata, aunga kali yuga mein. Ab kyun nahi aate ho Bhagavan, aaj hamare samne. Ab kyun nahi aate ho Bhagavan, aaj hamare samne. Dil to mera har liya, pyare Mehera Baba ne. Baba, Baba, mai pukaru, tere ghar ke samne.
Wow, that was beautiful.
That was wonderful. Oh,
Beautiful.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's such a great song about Baba twinkling, and they're saying, why have you not come before us? Hmm.
Oh,
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Baba. And Karen, are we able to figure out your...
is there anyone who knows how to unmute on the phone?
Is she with wireless hearing thing device? Because if she is, then no. Okay.
Okay. Oh, we're gonna try to see if Kristen has a story, and maybe Karen, some magical event will happen.
We have to say Baba. Say Baba's name. Baba.
Oh.
You are playing the silent Baba.
I'm actually just typing a message saying that I have to be at another meeting right now. So I'm just going to excuse myself, but thank you so much.
Glad you were with us, Chris.
It's been wonderful. And happy
Okay.
birthday, Mehera.
Happy birthday. Lots of love.
Okay. Love you guys. Bye.
Oh, love. Lots
Hey,
of love.
Baba.
Say Baba. Happy birthday.
I'm thinking, Betty, that you can maybe, it's a wonderful time to share and have everybody.
Yes.
Oh, Wayne Myers is saying unmute. What did Wayne just say? Oh, wait, what did that?
Find the chat here.
Yeah, what did
He's
he
probably
say?
giving instructions how Karen can get unmuted.
Yes. Okay. So what is he saying? He's saying unmute. on the phone, press 6 asterisk plus 6. Asterisk 6. Try that.
That's what Marjipan said. 5 and 6, I think she said.
Seven.
He said asterisk is 6.
Asterisk 6. And meanwhile, Betty,
You I think we could open if people have stories to share. Is that what you were?
Mhm.
Yeah,
That would be wonderful. Wonderful.
I know I have one. I didn't see Mara that many times. So it's the same story I always tell, but it's a pretty good story.
Mhm.
I went with my family in 87. And so we were new. So we were on the porch. I was there with 3 of my kids, my youngers. And excuse me, I'm gonna turn my heater off. Um, uh, and so Mara was getting it straight who we were, and she, I was there with my 7-year-old daughter, and then my 10-year-old, who was technically a foster son, half brother to my husband's kid, complicated family. So I tried to introduce my daughter Shireen, and then I turned to Gary, is his name, and I said, "This is my stepson." That I figured foster was not going to be something that Mara would relate to. So I said stepson, and she turned to me and she said, I like I say, I tell this story over and over again. But anyway, she said, no, you must not say it like that. She said, he's your son. And then she turned to him, who was kind of sitting up ways away and spacing out. And he said, so Gary, she said, who is this? And he said, oh, that's my mom. And he was half there. And so she looked at me like, well, and of course, since then, I'll never forget that. And Gary, to this day, is just a wonderful son. And I make no distinction between steps and halves, and they're just all my kids. It's much easier. So that was a real blessing. It was wonderful. And just 10, so she was young enough that she could hug him. And he even came into tea. So that was just right at the cusp there of when that was possible.
Oh, what a blessing.
It was wonderful. Wonderful.
They'll never forget that, those kids.
I remind him all the time, do you know, Gary? He's a rather wild one on his motorcycles, and but I say, do you know who spoke up for you? And he knows, he does know.
Oh my golly. I being a singer and then seeing Ruthie here, I'm loving to hear. Did you have a chance, Ruthie, to sing for Mara?
Thank you, Cathy. It was a fiasco, is what it was. I remember I tried singing one song. It's called "Song for the Asking." It was a Simon and Garfunkel song, and I practiced and practiced and practiced, and it was just awful. And she just looked at me, and I said, I'll try again, Mara. And so I laughed, and then I think I tried another one. I think it might have been Begin the Begin. And I tried and I tried and I tried, but it just didn't quite hit the mark. So finally, the third day I went back, or maybe got some time in between, and I sang a song, Catch the Wind by Donovan. And she was very pleased with that. She said, yes, that just hit the spot. So yeah, it was kind of humiliating to go there and not have perfection. And not just once, but
But you persevered.
I persevered, I did. You could have seen me in the dining hall with the guitar, just practicing. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
So it was very sweet that the third time, And I have to say, she knew that I had taught Buzz Connor how to play guitar. So I think the first time with my first song, she said, well, it sounds more like Buzz taught you than you taught him. Yes, I said yes.
Oh, oh, what a what a gift that you were with her and on the porch and
Yeah, yeah.
memories,
And then
memories.
finally, one song came
Mm-hmm.
through,
Came
you know,
through.
my
Mm-hmm.
love for Baba was finally able to kind of break
Mm-hmm.
through. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for asking, Kathy.
Mm, sure, sure.
Jill
Oh,
Davis hand up.
Karen, are you unmuted?
Yes.
I think it popped up. Can you hear me?
Oh, wow.
May her Baba be praised.
His prayers were answered.
His prayers were answered. I'm trying to, yeah, I lost internet right the moment you started this wonderful Zoom from Mara. So that's just my little relationship with Baba and the internet.
You persisted. You're here.
I
Mm.
was trying. Anyway, yeah. So did I interrupt anybody when I
No,
unmuted?
perfect timing.
Timing.
Okay, so do you want to hear some stories from?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I first met Mara in 1976, and at that time there were only 13 pilgrims at Mehrabad and Merazad. Actually, we didn't stay at Mehrabad because there were no accommodations except for going out weekly. And there was no electricity and all. So we stayed at Vilu's and we rode the rickety bus to Merazad, and we got to stay such long, wonderful hours with Mara and all the women and the men who were there too. And it was just such a vast number of memories, which I'm sure you all have. But the things that were so intimate and sweet at that time included just being able to spend time one-on-one with Mara, kind of like Cathy said, um, when we would be able to hug her. And the first time I went onto the porch, I actually had not seen pictures of Mara very much, but it was obvious which woman she was. And Jack Small was the person who brought me up to introduce me to Mara. And she stood up to greet me, and I was just so touched because she was in the middle of a story and she stopped everything to just say hello and Jai Baba, and a beautiful, beautiful smile. And her eyes would light up, just, just so brilliantly, as though she was seeing her beloved in each of us. And I noticed that as she would tell stories, that would happen also. But anyway, Jack gave me a push and he said, "Don't be shy." And so I wasn't expecting that. And so I just went flying across the porch and into her arms. And she, I think, was a little bit surprised also, but it was quite an embrace. And there was no way to be shy after that with her. But I do remember Mara in those days would still talk, and maybe she always did, about Baba's deep love for us and how much he had worked to bring each one of us there. at that particular time that that person felt the urge, the longing to come to India. And I remember her saying several times that first visit for me, how important it is and was to remember everything in Meherazad, and she included Meherabad also, but especially in Meherazad, where she was presently, because she kept saying, it won't be the same. So memorize everything, memorize how every picture is, and memorize how the furniture is sitting, because that's the way it was when Baba was here. And we have loved him so much that we have kept everything perfectly the same. And that really touched me so much. Another thing that really touched me was a story she told me. One time she just invited me inside her room with where Mani's bed was, and we sat on Mani's bed, and she just told me all these sweetly intimate things about how it was to wash Baba's hair, and how she used to steal a kiss on the back of his neck sometimes, and just very softly and sweetly, and very, of course, just appropriately. But she also told me a story about how she used to take a little nibble out of his ear every now and then, just a little nibble. And I thought that was the sweetest story, that she would share that with us, because we were all so much longing to have been with him, and she could see that. So for me, it was like seeing the intimacy of, or feeling that intimacy of being with him at some point. And then she told me another beautiful little story about Baba calling her, and every now and then, he would be in his bedroom, and every now and then, especially if she had a new skirt or blouse or a new sari, and she would want to show it to Baba, and he would somehow just know that she had something new. I don't know, maybe one of the women had told him, and he would call her, and she would come in to his room, and very quietly, so as not to disturb him, but then he would take his finger and twirl it around. And so what he was saying to her was, turn around, let me see all the way around. And so she would twirl around, and then he would make the beautiful sign of, it's perfection. It meant many things, but you all know that sign with his two fingers together, thumb and index finger. And then he would say, okay, now, you must go. And she would feel kind of sad that Baba was sending her away, but she knew that he was working and had things happening. And so she would go, and she would get to the door, and she would almost go through, and then he would call her back again. And so he would again twirl his finger around, and she would twirl again, and she would just so happy that he called her back again. And so this went on like 3 times maybe, that she kept going, and this time she knew that he wasn't gonna call her back because it had been, 2 times already, and her heart was just like almost breaking because she didn't wanna leave Baba. And, um, and sure enough, he called her back again. And as she was explaining how he kept doing that, it was like the love that she felt for him just kept growing. And she just broke down into tears at that point when she's telling about this, because it just was the absolute happiest, one of the happiest moments that she could remember at that time. And I've always just thought of Mara, because I think we all know that she used to stay awake at night as much as possible so that she could still be remembering her beloved. She didn't want to go to sleep. And so the women used to always encourage her to try to take a nap because they knew she would be up most of the night. And but she did confide that she did stay up a lot of the night, and she would be talking to Baba. And she did say that she actually would see him, especially in the mornings when she would go in to clean his room. And that's another whole story in itself. Those are some of the most intimate things that I remember she shared, and you might have heard them now because I think more of those stories have been told than when Mara was still with us. Something else that I remember that was just the sweetest, it was her love that it was just so profoundly moving to me. I had never, ever experienced anyone loving another being like that. But I do remember her coming into the samadhi when the women used to come to the tomb, and they used to come to put flowers and do arti and take their darshan, and they were so wonderful to include all of us, and I'm sure you've been there at the same time. But this one time I remember it was very special for 2 reasons. And one was Mara was there inside, and I was just standing on the edge of the door, but there were so few people there at the time. And I remember how she bowed to Baba, and it was not like anyone else would have possibly been able to show reverence and this matchless love that she had for him. And it wasn't like I was trying to invade her privacy. It was just that she and the women would go about expressing their love for him without seeming to be self-conscious about anyone watching. They would be so lost in the expression of their feelings. And what I did notice was that she would kiss a flower, usually it was a rose, and she would carefully choose the color. Dana knows this better than I do, I'm sure. But she would also touch it to her eyes and her lips, and she would place it so carefully in exactly the place that it looked the best for her to express her love. And then she would, one side of her face, she would touch to the cover on the marble of the Baba's shrine, and then the other side of her face. But this one time, I remember she picked up the cloth and she kind of sneaked underneath and put a kiss underneath on the marble. I just was like, oh, that's so sweet. It was the most precious thing. And then after the women would be there, and there would be a lot of singing, and we would everyone would have a chance to offer whatever song of praise they would have. Then we would go into the tin shed, the cabin next to, it was, I think it's now called Baba's room, but it's the cabin made out of tin, and where Baba used to do seclusion quite a bit. She would go there. And so there were various ones who were on pilgrimage that might get called in by her to join her inside and put flowers there. But this one particular time I went in, and she said, have you ever had a chance, or have you ever felt how soft Baba's skin was? And I said, well, no, Mara, I didn't know him in the body yet, as far as I know. And she said, oh, well, let me show you. So she took my hand, and there's this lovely photo up on a shelf of Baba. It's still there in the cabin. And his hands are kind of folded right at the base of this photo. And she said, reach up here with me. And so she put her hand on top of mine and actually stroked Baba's hand with my fingers. And I just, for those moments, I actually felt the softness of his skin. It was just completely unexpected, and there are no words to describe what it felt like, because it was, she had made a bridge, which she did for all of us. She made a bridge with her love for him, for me, straight to him. And somehow it seemed like that gesture of hers was what really opened my heart completely to Baba. So that was a really precious time. And I don't know if anyone else ever had that experience, because it's the first time I've really shared it. And I think the other thing that really touched me so was how Mira used to care for Baba, for his body, his physical form, how she used to manage all of his things. As Baba told her in the early days, I want you to be my orderly from now on. And so when Baba was not traveling and with the men, it seemed Mara was the one who did his hair and trimmed his mustache and did all of these personal things, as well as cooking for him and keeping everything clean and perfectly ready for him in any moment. And but one of the stories that I remember was how it used to get so hot in April and May in the summertime in India, and Baba would be walking up and down the hill and walking through the dust and the heat And anyone who's been in India when it's very hot, you can actually feel the heat coming up through the ground. It's as though the sun has beat the heat into the ground somehow. But anyway, she began to think how Baba's feet must feel so hot when he would come back up the hill for his lunch. And she started asking some of the elder women, how can I help Baba with this heat? And he's wearing open sandals and it's so hot. And one of them said, well, what you do is you rub cow's ghee on his feet, and then you take a smooth copper pot and you rub the ghee into his feet with the copper, and that will cool it. And so she told us that she used to do that every time he would come back up to them in the summers. And then after that, she would put his feet in cool water to soak. And just the tender care that she took of his personal needs and wishes, and the way she obeyed him. If she made a mistake, the next time she would not have made that mistake again. So it was this absolute and complete devoted love that she had for him, that she expressed. And I didn't see anything ever in her in all those years that indicated that she did not totally adore her beloved and see only him in her experience. I think there's so many more, but I don't want to take any more time.
Such treasure you shared. Thank you so much. Wow.
Yeah, it's lovely, Karen. Wow. Oh, I'm so glad we got through to you.
Finally, I figured. I don't know. Baba just pulled this little switch out, and all of a sudden it said, I didn't know where it came from. It just said unmute, and it was a microphone, which is what I've done Zoom and Google Meet and all that for years, and I've had to switch between my phone and my computer. And this time I just couldn't figure it out. So thank you, Baba.
Jill has a hand up. Jill Davis, are you with us, Jill?
Yes, I am. And Karen's so observant and paints such a picture of Mehera's life with Baba. So it was wonderful to hear that. And I just wanted to share something that I have I'd say a conscience about that Mehera told me. So, I did a number of pilgrimages while she was there, and I have heaps of stories. I'm writing the titles of the stories because I realize, being elderly now, it's time that I get these things written out or something. And but this is something that is very difficult to share, and because it's mostly women, I feel that the young women could use this advice that she gave me. And it came out of nowhere because I never went to the Mandali for advice, because if I asked them, I'd have to do what they told me. So I tried to avoid that. And I see Cathy nodding her head. And so I hadn't gone to Mehera for advice on how to cope with when I was young in the early years with Baba. You know, God, I didn't know whether Baba wanted me to get married or to be celibate. And men would ask me out. And sometimes, you know, as we all women know, it could be, you know, you have to deal with these things very kindly but carefully. And so what Mehera told me was, she said, now, Jill, if you are ever think that you're in love with someone and that you might want to marry him and he wants to sleep with you, this is what you must do. You must find a photo of Meher Baba. And she said, and if you do want to have a relationship with him before marriage, this is what you must do. You must find a photo of Meher Baba, ask him to put his hand on the photo, and to vow that he will always love you, he will never leave you, and he will marry you. Now, that story, that was like Mehera's protection, really. I felt it. But young women, with what they deal with nowadays, that's the reason I wanted to tell it right now, because I just think I need to find a way to get that story to the young women with Baba. And do you guys agree? I don't know quite how to do it, because it's a very personal story, but you know, they have to deal with so much. So that's the story.
Oh, it's a precious story, Jill. I've known you a long time. I've never heard it. Wow. Wow.
I have told it to friends in small groups of women, but that's it.
Wow. Oh, boy. She covered the bases. She
She really did.
wow. For such a secluded, so much time she was secluded from the world. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. So now, my conscience has been bothering me because, you know, maybe I'll just email it to one of the young women and ask her to tell whoever she wants. So thank you.
If we heard it here, we can pass it along, right?
Yes, please do.
Okay. McCall.
Yeah. Wow, what shares. Wow, what gifts. Amazing, Karen. Wow, what stories. Wow, it just makes my heart melt. Oof. Yeah, wow. And that story that you told about her being the bridge and healing. So now I can see what how real it was for her to touch every picture of Baba and to bring it alive through. Wow, that's so beautiful. And I like the twirling thing. And I can imagine that every time her heart would break, that's the last time, you know, she would see him tomorrow, but that's the last time. No, he'd call her back. That's the last time. Oh, Baba. She never wanted to be without him. Oh, Baba. Neither do we. So, Jill, we are all young women. I'm celibate though. I'm with Baba. So, and Anna, there's this story that Mani got really frustrated. She came with Mehera and they had some argument about some facts, and Mehera said her sing and Mani said her sing, and Baba agreed with what Mehera said. And then Mehera left. She was very happy and she left. Then Mani got really upset and she said, Baba, if Mehera would say that the world is flat, you would say yes. And he nodded yes. So that was such a good example of standing up for his woman and really beautiful. So what an example they gave, both of them, to us all. This absolute love. And Cathy, your songs, and the first one that you sang, wow, just swayed us all with it. You just got into it and sang it again and again and again. It was beautiful. So I want to sing birthday song to Mehera. And actually here, I mean, it's not happening anymore. I don't know why it's not happening, but it's Baba or whatever it is. But we had 10 years, good years together, where we would sit, we would meet, we would do parties together, Baba parties together. So Mehera and Mania, the same months, they have 2 weeks between them, and less than 2 weeks actually. And Hanukkah comes there, and Christmas sometimes the verses comes in the middle. So depends. So we meet only that one time. So when we meet that one time, we used to celebrate for Mehera and Mani together. So actually now, because in Zoom we separate that, so we have chance to celebrate for Mani, we have a chance to celebrate for Mehera. So I was celebrating for Mani on her birthday, and now it's Mehera's birthday, but I didn't make a cake. So this time I don't know how to make cakes. But I said, persevere, I'm gonna make a cake. So I made a carrot cake today. And then I put the candles. And then I said, no, I have to put a candle for Mani too, because when Mani had a birthday, I didn't make a cake. So I will sing for both Mehera and Mani. And because it's actually the same music, and today I did celebrate for Mehera all morning, but when I did the cake, I also invited Mani to be in the party as well. And I think Mehera is happy with that, Mani is happy with that, and Baba is happy with that. So I'll sing to both of them. Oh, Baba, Mel Baba, and dear Mehera, and dear Mani. Baba used to say Mehera Mani, like that's a unit. Though Mehera was Mehera and Mani was Mani, there's a unit also of Mehera Mani, and there also they're attached 2 women to the circle, to the first circle, and very, very dear ladies. Mehera bavatenu nishmat tapcha ahavatcha אנא עזרי לנו לאהוב את בבא עוד ועוד. מehera בבתנך נשמת אפך אהבתך. אנא עזרי לנו לאהוב את בבא עוד ועוד. יפת ואצילית, צנועה ועדינה, כל כולך באלוהית, למהר בבא. יפת ואצילית, צנועה ועדינה, כל כולך באלוהית, למהר בבא. יום הולדת משמח עם אהובך אלוהי, יום הולדת משמח עם מהר בבא. יום הולדת משמח לך Mehera אהובה, יום הולדת משמח מהר בבא. Mehera, the apple of his eyes, Baba's very breast, beloved's love, please help us love Baba more and more and more. Mehera, the apple of his eyes, Baba's very breast, beloved's love, please help us love Baba more and more and more. You are beautiful and sublime, so humble and so gentle. You are pure divine love for Meher Baba. You are beautiful and sublime, so humble and so gentle. You are pure divine love for Meher Baba. Happy birthday, dear Mera, with your beloved. Happy birthday, dear Mera, in beloved's love. Happy birthday, dear Mera, with your beloved. Happy birthday, dear Mera, in beloved's love. מני שלווה במלאת חיים ושמחה, אנא עזרי לנו לאהוב את בבא עוד ועוד. מני שלווה Mani, full of love, sparkling joy, vivacious one, please help us love Baba more and more and more. יצירתית ומצחיקה, משמחת ונבונה, אחות קטנה לאהבתה, מדמלה. Creative and much fun, wise and full of humor, little sister of the avatar, much less you are. יום הולדת משמח עם האח האלוהי שלך, יום הולדת משמח עם מהר בבא. Happy birthday, dear Money, with your god brother. Happy birthday, dear Money, with מהר בבא. יום הולדת משמח לשתיכן באהבתך, יום הולדת משמח, תודה מהר בבא. Happy birthday to you both, dear Mera and Mani dear. Happy birthday to you both with Meher Baba. So thank you, Baba. Thank you, wow, for letting us meet those beautiful women and your beloved and the Mandali, and meet you through that, and have this bridge, like Karen said, because it is a bridge. I do feel that they are alive. I feel them, that they are still eternally there for us, and to be contacted, and that they're all celebrating today up there in Baba's Darbar and enjoying themselves in the party for Mera, because today it's Mera's birthday. It's your birthday, dear Mera. And peeking down to see what we're doing with celebrating them, and pointing, you see, this is the party here, this is the party here, this is what they're doing here. So actually, for me, they're all alive. So thank you. And it was just a gift, such a gift to meet Mera. She touched my heart very, very deeply. And I was also thrown on her, almost fell on her, because I was shy and I was standing on the side, and someone just pushed me on her, just actually pushed me on her. And I still stayed shy with her, but it was very profound to be with Mera. And she touched me deeply, deeply, deeply. And I knew immediately that she was completely God. That was in 1988, first time that I came. And the second time, 1989, I was lucky to meet her in both times. So thank you, Baba. Thank you, Mera. She is very, very deeply meaningful to me. So Jai Baba.
Thank you so much, Mikhail. Your birthday songs are so jolly. Does anyone else have some burning desire? I have a teeny little memory that just came up. We would, when we were on the porch, candy would get passed around, wrapped candy usually. And I would save the wrappings. I would keep them in my little, and I know Mera once, she just I was just acknowledged that I would say, oh, you keep the wrappings, okay. No, nothing was said, but she knew, she saw that. You know, Cathy, I have to thank you, Cathy. This meeting was planned pretty late in the game. We had set something for Saturday, but it's so important to meet on the day. And Cathy just picked up on that and said, "I'll do it. I'm inspired. We'll have this meeting," and it was just so right to do it today. And so we'll have another one tomorrow. We'll cover all the bases.
Yeah, it's such a treat to hear everybody's stories. Thank you, everybody, so much. Brings her back.
Doesn't it?
I'm wondering, is Diana available? Is she there? She's always
Yes, she's
she
here.
got some good.
I'm here.
Where is it?
I'm here. No, I don't have stories to tell. I'm listening today.
Okay.
Mhm.
Quickly, I'll try to be. Cathy, I asked Cathy for a bio of herself, and then it got late, and I didn't get to say. And I know you don't want to shine the light on you, but can I just say a few? No.
Let's just say that Mehera loved us all, and we have been the better for it.
That's the truth.
It just this is reminding me that on another Zoom the other night, somebody mentioned David Fenster and all the work he did over the years to assemble, work on Lord Mehera and Mehera Mehera and all the photos. And I had been sort of thinking about him as I'm rereading Mehera Mehera and enjoying it again and feeling so blessed to have this incredible 3 volumes of Mehera's life. So Michael LePage had mentioned that he just edited a 2009 talk that David Fenster gave at Avatar's Abode about all these years of the work he did, just getting Mara's stories, all those years, and putting them together. And I just wrote him after seeing that video the other night and said, "Thank you for all you've done." And it was so sweet. He just said, the the gift has been he was saying the gift has been given, and I just feel that same way. He was just not saying I did all these years, but I feel we all know that, we have been so gifted and we've been given so much. Oh, and if possible, I'd love to sing one more song.
Oh, please do. Yeah.
In fact, thanking Baba for this gift, which that Mara loved. I envy every grain of sand your foot has trod upon, every shoulder that your hand has lightly rested on, every word your hands have formed, every flower your kiss has warmed, but most of all, your dear delight, the stars that shine for you at night, for you at night. All my life, I've tried to keep something lovely, something deep in my soul for you to see. If ever you look at me, but I faltered at your gaze, blushed and turned aside my face. For all the beauty that I knew was the beauty that is you.
What?
All
Oh,
my life, I've tried to keep something lovely, something deep in my soul for you to see. If ever you should look at me, but I faltered at your gaze, blushed and turned aside my face. For all the beauty that I knew was the beauty that is you. Mehera, Mehera,
That was beautiful, Kathy. Let's have a moment of silence and then have our key J's and be on our way. Beautiful. There she is, Kathy. And now we say 3, Avatar Meher Baba Kijay. Avatar Meher Baba Kijay. Avatar Meher Baba
Kijay.
Kijay. Avatar
Kijay.
Kijay. Oh, thank you all for sharing. Special day.
So grateful that for Baba to bring Kathy and her singing in this special meeting. It's been just wonderful.
Thank you, Baba.
Thank you, Betty, for hosting, and thank you, Cathy, for the initiative, because it's so important to do it in the day, to do something on the day of the birthday. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Betty, Ruthie, Dana, Karen.
Thank you. Special time. Special time. Oh, I'm so glad you brought the picture, Kathy. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Did you take that photo?
I think I was given it by Clive Adams. I don't know if he took it or Mehera gave it to him. I'm not sure. Do you know, Dana?
I don't know who took it. Thank you so much, Betty.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Betty.
Nice remembering of
That was so good. Thank you. This is the end of the day. It's now what? midnight.
Oh, really?
But what a beautiful way to close this beautiful day with Mehera's birthday. Thank you.
Thank you. The music is divine.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba and Mehera.
Jai Baba, thank you.
There's one more chance tomorrow. Ruthie will have a remembering meeting again tomorrow morning. Here. All right.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. All right. See you all later. Jai Baba.